Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Zoom at 8, another Tuesday night at Zoom at 8. My name's Julianne Peterson. If you don't know me, I've been the host of Zoom at 8 for over 5 years and your place to get a multifamily loan with Old Capital. We are the shadizzle when it comes to multifamily financing. So if you're working on a deal and you're wondering, hey, should I put this LOI in? Should I be getting a loan for this? Make sure you stop by 3 of the people to validate your assumptions. One is an insurance broker. So call up JT Lynch. He was here a couple weeks ago. Get on the phone or look at your county's taxing authority. See if they've got some software that you can plug in numbers upon sale. And then the last one would be to talk to a property manager. It's time to vet these property managers. What's it going to look like? Do my assumptions are they aligned with how you're going to manage this? Because God only knows that if they're going to run a budget and it's not in line with yours, we better know that first and foremost before we jump into a deal with them. So after you've done those 3 different folks and it's still pencils, like what is penciling? I would say that a 4% yield, cash on cash is not a very good deal, nor is 5. But if the business plan is coming through on, your first year, you're going to be able to get a 5% or a 6, maybe 7. I think it's worth having a conversation. So send over your T12, your rent roll, the offering memorandum, and then your underwriting. And we'll take 48 hours to give you some feedback on that underwriting. If the current seller is managing it himself, you still have to put in management. And asset management, by the way, is not above the line. It's going to be below the line. So just thought I would make sure everybody knows that. So tonight we have, back by popular demand, Adrian Fajardo is here with Cash Flow Portal. So we're going to get excited for him to share more information about having a presence online, because you know what? At 4:00 in the morning, when investors are laying in their bed, they can still see your content. You're still valuable. You might not be able to get on a call at 4 a.m., but they can look you up and they can get to know you better. So it is critical to your growing your business in this industry, having a presence. So we're going to hear a lot more from him as we get going here. Tonight is going to be a win-win for you for sure, because backed by popular demand, we have our speaker tonight who not only is well known in the industry, but is a friend of mine. We've known each other for probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. Adrian Fajardo is here, and he is an account executive for Cash Flow Portal. And he is directly responsible for the brand management, educating, and assisting investors in real estate investing and using his company's portal. He took over Cash Flow Portal's channel, which is, their website and their social media channel, and he garnered 92,000 views on 52 videos and 3,000 hours. He's edited his own videos, and he's now systematized the content creation workflow to produce high quality videos. He's amazing. The information that he shares is very relevant to what we're doing, and he's a great example of how to do it the right way and to attract investors. In addition to managing his company's brand, he's also an active investor. He's a passive investor. He's been investing in smaller multifamilies such as duplexes and fourplexes, and then he shifted to larger commercial multifamilies. He's got 2 properties in Denver and is actively open to more passive investments if you have them. He holds a nursing BS, an ATA in computer networking, an ATA in information security and digital forensics. He served 6 years in the U.S. Army before moving to his current position. So thank you for your helping me stay safe, and all the people in the room stay safe. Adrian, you gave that willingly. So thank you for that. But I want to get you back in the room because we are excited to learn more about how do we do this. So welcome again to Zoom at 8, Adrian.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks everyone for joining, and thank you for having me again. Man, the first one was so fun, and I'm glad that Julie was gracious enough to share the stage again. So I'm I'm
First,
I'm gonna try to go
before
ahead.
you go, sorry to interrupt you. Look at the lighting on Adrian. He looks so good. And he was talking about this the last time and I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever, whatever. But when we put the video out, I was like blown away. It's like all the other videos that I put out every week, but the lighting made a huge difference. If you didn't see it, go back and it's going to be like a light's going to go on and go, ah, now I get it. It makes a big difference. So first and foremost, the lighting, it definitely makes a difference. If you guys would do me a favor, go up to the right side of your screen. Most of us have this the software here and go to view. Go to speaker view. Now we can give Adrian all of our attention and you can see how the lighting, the shadows are cast on his face, and this is a great way to have a conversation. So, all right, Adrian, you're on.
Yeah, I like that first point, and when when I started making content and understanding what makes or retains, that's keyword, retain attention. um it is really like think of it this way: there's a barrier between you and the audience, right? There's this wall in between. Now you can either put the work on your end or on the audience end. And what do I mean by putting the work between which end? It is, are you going to give them a pleasant experience on the sort of journey what you're going to take them? Either you're about to hop on a Zoom call because you're either going to do a webinar where you're going to teach them how to invest in multifamily, or what is this commercial real estate investing, or more importantly, you're about to raise capital. One of those Zoom calls that you have all your investors lined up and you're about to pitch your deal. So you can either put the work on your end where you make it a pleasant experience. And we'll break down what this experience start off, which Julie just mentioned. It's one of his the visual. So like what you're seeing right now. Um, the it doesn't matter. You can say, hey, Adrian, you probably have a really nice camera. Camera has nothing to do with it. You can have the world's greatest camera, but lighting is actually what brings out the quality of a camera. You can have a simple phone in front of you or a simple camera like a 1080p camera. If you have good lighting, it'll make everything stand out, like day and night difference. That's one thing. Another experience is audio, and talked about this on the first video, that people would rather sit through bad like video, but they will not sit 5 seconds with a bad audio. If it's too grainy, if it has a feedback, even if you have like a nice 4K, 8K, 3D, the best quality video, if the audio is bad, no one's gonna sit through your video. So when I keep that in mind, where would I rather put the effort? Do I want my audience to have the patience to sit through this presentation where my audio is bad, my video is bad? That's a lot to ask. And to be frank, they're not going to, right? Because there's a lot of things that they could be doing to spend their time. So I would always put in my mind that I would put all the work on my end. I want the audience to just sit back and relax and actually, just focus on what I have to tell them. And they're not going to be, they're going to really appreciate like just watching me doing it. Like if they turn on like mute, it's like, man, I really like watching this movie just because of the visual effects or so. Um, but yeah, so when Julie asked me to come back, she wanted to do a more tangible, it's more like a workshop where what we're going to talk about here is immediately applicable the moment you get off this call. And I agree, because I think inspiration unused is just entertainment. So I want you to walk off this video, and whoever watches this recording, that there's something that you can take away and actually implement. So Julie asked me, like, what is a workflow? What is my step from zero to actually completing something? And the great thing about what I'm going to tell you is this can be applicable if you're either writing an email or maybe just making a short video in LinkedIn. You can use this very same steps. Some of them can be you can remove, or some of them you can add to. But what I'm going to share with you can be applicable on almost anything. In fact, I use the same thing when I write my emails, do cold outreach to sales in Casual Portal, and it works with the open rate of my email.
Mhm.
Before I get started, Julie, anything that you want to specifically touch on?
No, I do want to make sure that there's enough time that if we're not doing
Ooh, yes.
YouTube videos that are long, 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 the 30-second, how do you get people's attention? So I think that you're going to cover that, but and how much do I need? Am I walking along the street? We talked about it last time. Are we walking along the street? Are we still sitting in our cars? Like some of that too.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so okay, first things first. I want you all, and this is not a question you answer to me. It's more of an answer, a question you should answer to yourself. It's, why do I make content? Why am I going to produce this video? I Earlier, before we jumped to this call, Jill and I were talking, and I mentioned people today, they they're more of they want to say something but they don't listen. Now, when you listen, that means, what do people want to watch, or what value do people want to get out when they watch this video? It's kind of like, oh, let me make a dish from this guest in my house, but let me just put it together, but I'm not going to taste my cooking. I'm going to serve it on the dinner plate and they're going to eat it whether they like it or not. That it doesn't really work out, right? You want to make sure what you're going to put out there is actually you yourself are going to enjoy. So people don't just wants to voice out what they want to say, put content out there, but they don't even look back and say, wait a minute, is this content even useful to them? So ask yourself, if before I even hit the record button, why am I going to make this video? What is the one thing the audience will see and pick up when they watch this video? If you cannot change the state of your audience from before they saw your content and after, that content is just noise. If you can even make them make put a smile on their face, not even like, oh yeah, that was one good sentence out of the 10 minutes he said, that one point, even at one point, that 1 minute actually was a golden nugget. That was worth it. That was worth the 10 minutes. So ask yourself before you even start why you want to do this. So Julie, that answers the question of like, it doesn't now it tackles the question, should I be doing it when I'm walking? Should I do it by sitting? Should I do it doing a property tour? Again, the question is, what is the value they're going to get out of it? Because what you're doing doesn't really matter if they're going to get something out of it. Now, this is a very technical now because I'm a very organized person. I don't willy-nilly do something. So I'll show you the first step that I think most people should do. It is creating sort of a bank, your headquarters, to track your progress of your content. I hope you can see my screen here.
Yes.
Okay. So this is, I use Asana. You can use whatever you want. You can use a spreadsheet. I'm not a spreadsheet whiz, so maybe you can do something that would be similar to this. Now,
So there's a square on the left side. Is that supposed to be there?
square on the left side.
Yeah, there's like a blank square right there where
Wait,
you're
let me do this.
it's still there. We can only see description on the left, description template, and then it's covered the first two on the second. There you go. Perfect.
Is that better?
Yep, perfect.
Okay. So this is a Kanban board. Um, and what I do is, obviously it's from left to right. The first column is just my notes, all the templates that I need to do, especially like description of the of a video like this one. All my tags, everything is on this card. Now, this card is the one I duplicate. So anytime I have a project that I want to make, or a YouTube video, I just duplicate this. I don't make this edit. And then obviously you can see the topics, hey, the topic list. So I can just, if while I'm browsing or resting and I thought about a video, like, man, that's a great video. So I just put it here so I can dabble it later on.
So
And then
those are other people's videos.
this is the videos that I want to make.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are topics that I think it's great, but It's just like a thought in my mind. I'm not really going to
Gotcha.
dive deep into it. It's just a great starting point. Which brings us to really the first part. When you think of starting a content, I my analogy is TTT, which is the topic, the thumbnail, and then the title. I have to think of the what is that main point that the audience will get. That's the topic, and then I'll start thinking of the thumbnail and title. Now, thumbnail can be skipped, especially if it's not the platform doesn't require a thumbnail. But in any platform that requires a thumbnail, that is by far the most important thing, uh, only secondary to the topic. So if I already think of the topic, I'll now think of the packaging, which is the thumbnail and title. Thumbnail first, because when you land on a the home screen, that's the first thing people would see. And let me show you the difference of what a thumbnail can do. Uh, you're still seeing this page, right? The Casual Portal
Yes,
page.
correct. Hmm.
So this is Casual Portal's official page, and then this is where Perry does his webinars. Maybe some walkthrough of the portal. So for the past couple of weeks, he's been doing this webinar, doing different um, topics. So the first couple of ones, we just wanted to make it formal first. Now, mind you, the format, the way he's been doing it, hasn't changed. Right? It's all doing the same thing. But what we did, all we did is just really just change the thumbnail. And this one, the most recent one he made, look at this 22, 22, 50, 47, 52,
Whoa.
562 videos. Now, again, if you, it's not pre-playing, but he's just really doing a Zoom call, like what you're doing right now, exactly what you're doing right now, Julie. So he just has people
Hmm.
coming in, and he even just actually let me just play a little bit. So right like that, a very very simple format,
Hmm.
and it's just him sharing his screen. But what really got a lot of the click was now the change of the thumbnail. Because if you look at the thumbnail, you see his emotion, right? He's upset, and it says, "I missed the YC." This is lingo for like Y Combinator. And then after the people see the thumbnail, they're going to read the title: "How I Got into Y Combinator After Getting Rejected." Now, if just by viewing this, let's say this was the homepage of YouTube, doesn't this attract your attention right away? Like, look at it at a glance, like a far view. All of these texts didn't really stand out, but immediately when you
Hmm.
see some like a sad person, and then there's like a simple text, your attention gravitates to that corner. Then you will read the title. That's why thumbnail happens first, and then title. Okay, so let's go back to the Kanban board. Now, this is the stage that I'm in now. When I think of title and thumbnail combination, what I do is first I search. So I already have my title, so I open an incognito mode in YouTube, and I use incognito because YouTube has a very strong pattern of algorithm, so it already knows what I'm looking for. But I want it to have a clean slate. I'll search the title topic, like maybe what is multifamily investing, something like that, right? And then I'll change the filter to most viewed, and then it's going to filter out all the videos with the highest view. What I'm trying to garner is, for one, what is a good title thumbnail combination that got this video a lot of views? Because I already know my topic. I just wanted to know what is a good title thumbnail combination. So I pull a couple of those, and I try to see what are the patterns that made it stand out. Now, last call, I mentioned this resource, which is Creator Hooks. Think of the really really big content creators. They actually look at psychology. There's a great book. It's named Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. All of those he's basically saying like we're still having this animalistic tendencies, and if you know how to trigger those desires or those emotions just by either an image or a word, that's how people knows how to be a great negotiator or a big business partner. So it's the same thing with creating thumbnail and title. And the guy who made Creator Hooks actually broke it down into a formula. So for instance, he gathers a lot of like thumbnails and he says, okay, so this is the thumbnail, this is the title, this is the format, professional, unbiased test, every non-professional item. And if you scroll down, he even explains why it works. Same thing like this, big smalls, like it's like a contradicting what do you call that? Counterintuitive object. That's there you go. So this is the thumbnail and this is the title, and you can see the views as well. Now he compiled all these basic formulas that you can make on a title that's really really good, which I actually compiled it myself. Where is it? Oh, right here. So these are like the top 10 different uh, sort of like format of titling. So it's like challenging assumption, which is like stop chasing money, chase wealth, how to get rich, things like that. Another one
Mhm.
is moving away from pain. So the biblical principle helped me escape the rat race. Open the loop. Why this was one of the most terrifying scenes in film history. So that means once you read that title, it has an itch in your mind that the only way you can relieve that itch is by clicking this video. So this is the format of that title. So it can basically summarize in these kinds of formats. So anytime I think of a topic, now I'm gonna think of how do I package this, which is the most like way of like delivering this message. So I look at all these formulas and actually put piece together what is the best way to to convey the message.
And again, let's just be really clear. You're talking about this before you shoot
Oh,
the video.
before long before I even shoot the video. And I know that it's like, man, this is a lot of work. Yeah. If this was so simple, a lot of people would be successful. No, there's a reason why when you go to the homepage, there are certain videos that stand out. The people who did really, really well on all these stuff, like this one is 3.3 million views. It took him longer to I bet you it took him longer to figure out the thumbnail and title than to actually shoot the video, because they had to do a lot of research way beforehand to make sure that one, there was demand, two, what is the most you know intriguing way to access that intellectual itch in someone's mind. Again, it takes practice, it takes a while to learn it, but once you get it, it can be applicable to, again, email titles. My emails
Yeah.
is great because I send a lot of like cold emails, and the way I formulate my title on my email gets a very high open rate. Now let's go back. So after I figure out now the thumbnail and the title, I have this software. I mean, it's not a software; it's actually a site. I'll put it in the chat. It's called thumbsup.tv. Where's the chat? Oh, right there. Okay, thumbsup.tv. And what this link does is if you upload an image, so I already uploaded an image, it will put it into a format that looks like um, a YouTube title, because you can even add your title here in the bottom, right? And it's multiple different ways, like different sizes. And then what I do is after I created the thumbnail and title, I go to a YouTube back to YouTube, and then I type sort of like a similar title, right? Like the title could be, let's say I'm making a video about wealth killers. So I just have to type wealth killer, something like that. And then it pulls up all these videos. Now look at this, 800,000 views, 405,000 views. And what I do is I take a screen grab and go to Canva. I already did it,
Mm.
right? So I have this videos that came up. And what I did is I took a screen grab of the Zoom is freaking. There we go. Um, so I did a screen grab of my videos and then I overlap it like this. And I asked myself, can my video compete against these videos? Because when people search for sort of like, let's say the topic lands in the same ballpark, that means my video, my thumbnail and title will compete against these guys. And this is how you gauge, like, huh? Oh yeah, I could stand a chance because we just by looking. This is how great this guy is. He great book, by the way. I will teach how to be rich. Just looking at his thumbnail, you already know the wealth killer is a car, That means Americans are buying cars that they can't afford, and now it's going to affect their all their other finances. Like this guy, I didn't even read the title. I already know what will make people
Mm.
poor. That's how good the thumbnail is. But look at my titling: the true wealth killer no one wants to talk about. That that titling style is, where is it? It's called subverting expectation. Where is it called? It's either challenging assumption or refuting an objection. That means there was a known idea that, oh, a car makes you um, poor, but actually, my video is about, no, it's not the car that makes you poor. It's your need to impress people. A car is just a manifestation of that. So it's the things that, being in social media and you need to post. Man, I'm spilling in the idea of the the video, but when people are looking at all these titles, they're gonna read mine like, man, what he's saying is that all these people are saying car is what makes you, like this one, car will make you poor. But there's this one guy that says, nope, it's not really a car, it's something else. But I didn't really state it on what it is. It'll show social media, but they have to click on this video to know what it is. That is the kind of thing that you need to put on your packaging to make people want to, or entice people to click on your video. And then the easy part is actually the recording. Because when I create my script, I already know what I'm going to tell the people because the end goal is already stated. All the all I have to do is make sub points to make sure it's correct, or I support the title and thumbnail. Because the only way this is going to be clickbait is if I don't fulfill my promise. So think of the packaging as, this is the promise I want to give my audience. It is, there is something I want to tell you that is killing people's wealth. It's not going to be a car. It's something else. Don't worry. In the video, I'll take care of you. I'll explain it. That's that. Now that part is going to be like the hook, the first 30 seconds of the video. So let me pause there. I know I went deep a little bit. So we covered title, coming up with the title, thumbnail in relation to your topic. All of these are tools that I use. Oh, another one before the question. Um, this is what I use a lot. It's called wordcounter.net. I'll add it in the chat as well. I tried to make my title less than 55 characters. And the reason being is, if you can't convey your message in less than 55 characters, you're explaining the entire thing, no one will read it. You need to do it in less than 55 characters. And why 55 characters? Because in YouTube, after a certain amount of characters, it'll actually cut it. This is like a bad example. Like this one. You see this dot, dot, dot.
Oh, yeah.
You, let's say the last point, the main point that drives home the hammer is at the very end of the sentence. They won't be able to read it because it's now dot, dot, dot. That's why I try to do it in less than 55 characters. Okay, let me pause there. Julie, or anyone, if you have any questions.
Okay, so can we just identify what you mean by a thumbnail? So you're deciding what one piece of it, like just is it a picture or is it a short video? Is the
Gotcha.
thumbnail?
Yeah. Yeah. And I should have clarified that. Thumbnail is really the entire image. That's the thumbnail.
Okay.
It's the
So it's a,
cover image of the entire video, and it encompasses the text, the background, the your facial expression, the what you use to like the props. Now, as a good rule of thumb, so this is an example of, I actually just use Canva for all my. I don't use this fancy Adobe. I just use Canva. Um, as a good rule of thumb, when you make a thumbnail, there's really just three elements, right? The person, the background, and the text. That's it. That's a simple formula of a back. You don't have to overthink it. Just a person, the background, and the text. And all of it is just complementary to each other. So, for instance, if you look at this image here, I bet you can already tell what the video is all about, right? What do you think this video is going to be about?
Cody, what's this video about?
I think you know. It's very important as an LP.
Yeah,
Anyone who's been an LP.
what's high risk, right? LP is high risk. Why, right? And so I need to click on that to find out why.
Or it really is about the capital stack, isn't it? And I'm going to explain that the further high up the capital stack is risky. And there's a reason. I mean, almost all GP presentation, and well, good GPs, I'll just say that, like good GPs will show an image of the capital stack where all the sources and uses of the capital, and but no one really explains what does this mean, this image, right? Like what does this hire, is it good or bad? And then this video I made just really simplified like what is really the capital stack, right, in relation to risk. That's the point. So what I'm trying to say is this thumbnail, a picture can paint 1,000 words. I don't need the entire sentence to show or convey a message, because this image itself can. And I look nervous because obviously the risk. And then people in the industry will understand the lingo of like LP and GP. And then yes, high risk is something scary. People always try to move away from pain than their excitement to something of pleasure. So by me using saying like risk and then on this higher position, now people think like, okay, now I really have to check this out.
So it's
Go
very
ahead.
compelling. I like that. Um, if you're doing a podcast, you
Uh-huh.
can't create this before you necessarily have the
Yeah, yeah.
interview. So how do you do that?
Which goes back to the point number one, which is why am I creating this content? That if you start, if you have a clear answer of this content is going to be a podcast based or an extremely long form content, what I always do is in uh, there is nothing in this space, especially in the content creation space, that is hidden. All the secret to success is already exposed out there. So what I'll do is first look at some of the bigger and most successful podcasts. The one that I can think of, at least the ones that I really like, is
Old
Diary of a
Capital
CEO.
Podcast. Yes,
Zoom
Diary of
in.
a CEO is great. And their introduction, I actually even asked Paul, hey, what would it take? He says it's extremely expensive to run the introductions like they do.
Yeah, I mean their production value. He's very well capitalized, obviously, but
Yeah.
all I have to do is just look at his format of his thumbnails. So I can already say what is the formula here, right? So he used a simple black background because he wants the star of the show, which is the guest, to be the highlight. Nothing else needs to be to matter. And then he picks the most thought provoking sentence in that interview, like this one. Ramit Shetty, I was just talking about him, right? And he said something like, renting is not a waste of money, because that's subverting expectation. People say, like, oh, it's better to own than to rent. So this guy knows his audience so well, right? It's probably like the middle class or people like the Gen Zers or so on. So he wanted to attack their preconceived notion of what is renting. So he used this line and then make it the guest. And then look at his combination of his title as well. Ramit Shetty, if you don't know him, he has a Netflix show. So he start the title with his name because you want a what's that called?
Connection.
Uh, no, it's like a uh, authority. He's a person of authority, right? So if you have you seen those um, uh, title? I was just looking at Ken McElroy's.
Mm-hmm.
We all know Ken McElroy, right?
Sure.
So there was, if I go to his channel, he's very
He's been here
successful.
on Zoom at 8, by the way.
Yeah, very successful guy. So if I go to popular, that means I'm looking at all his videos and sorted by the most popular video to the least. And one of his most popular, obviously the one with Robert Kiyosaki, but there was one that really stood out, which is where was the one? Oh, here it is. So we all know Dave Ramsey as well. So he said a 2 billion investor reacts to TikTok guru. So he anchored himself as a guy that is most or like even more successful than a guy that we maybe more popular, which is Dave Ramsey. So he's saying, I'm a position of authority and I have a way why I can refute his points. Doesn't that like start an itch in your mind? Like, man, I really want to click this video now because I want to see how he's gonna challenge Dave Ramsey's point. So what he on the Diary of a CEO, it's the very same thing. Now, it's hard to do it because you don't, especially in a podcast format, because you don't know what's going to be talked about.
Yeah.
That's why in the Diary of a CEO, there's a very reason why also he formatted all his title and thumbnails the very same way, right?
Mhm.
Black background, and then just the image of the guest, and then the most thought-provoking sentence. Because again, he when he records it, he needs to publish it right away. So he needs a system so where he can just quickly make the thumbnail and title and still make it very attractive.
Now, here's my question. It
Yes.
doesn't show him. So if you look at this, you don't know that it's his, all except for the DOAC.
Bingo.
I don't like that.
You want him to be in the middle or to be in the
I
image?
do. I want to recognize that that's his content, and then I'm going to be even more attractive to
Okay,
it.
okay. So there uh the biggest tech YouTuber on the planet, his name is MQBHD. He was actually in a podcast, and he explained that even though his name is people would know him, Marquez Brownlee, right? He's interviewed presidents, he's interviewed Elon Musk CEOs, like yeah, he's very big. There you
Mhm.
go. He's even interviewed the CEO of Google and Apple. But notice in some of his, now I sorted again by most popular. Look at this uh
Mm.
thumbnails. His face is not in it. And he explained on the podcast, he says, my goal in my channel is I don't want to be the star. I want the tech to be the star. I want all eyes focused on the tech. And this is why when you look at all his videos, it's like very well lit because he explained that I want the audience to watch my videos to feel like we're just in the same room and talking about this gadget. Very down to earth, very, very simple. Again, this is he's been doing it for a long time. He's thought about his image, his branding, his the way he's gonna associate with his audience so well. That's why he draws so many views per video because he has a character. There's a lot of tech videos out there. If you just Google uh, iPhone 16, there'll be a lot of channels reviewing the iPhone 16.
Look at his first.
Yeah, but he's just the top ones. But there's countless and countless of channels reviewing the iPhone. But why is it that there's still people going to his channel? It's because of his personality, the way he tells the
Mm.
story. And this is what I meant in the first video. But if you haven't watched it, go ahead and check that out first. It's you are the story. There's a reason why it's called YouTube because you are the storyteller. I can give you the script of my most recent video, and if you try to make it on your own, that video will be completely different than the one I produced because you're the storyteller now. And this is what how you separate yourself because a lot of people are now using AI, ChatGPT, make my script. So everything is monotonous. Everyone sounds the same. There's no more
Mhm.
personality. The people who will stand out in this day and age making content is the one who is the most authentic.
Okay, so let's pause there for a second.
Okay. Yes.
Now, this is talking a lot about YouTube.
Mhm.
And I agree you want to have YouTube if you're doing interviews or you're doing a podcast, right? If you're wanting to do content to attract investors, so you're talking about, LTVs, you're talking about the market, all that. I get
Yeah.
it. What if you want to do a reel? And how do you have to do this as well before you do the reel? I mean, we're 30 seconds. Hey, this is where we are. You talked about walking a property. How do I impose these things that you're talking about on that 30-second reel that's going to attract people to me?
Yeah, good question. So, in that video also, I started by understand what is the standard of the platform that you're looking to post it on.
True.
So,
Yeah.
for instance, if I was going to post something in Instagram, I would do the very same thing I showed you in YouTube.
Mm.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but not the secret to success, it's not hidden. It's already out there in content creation. So do the same thing, rinse and repeat what I did here. Go to Instagram or maybe Google search it first, um, like what is multifamily Instagram, right? And then just filter out just by reels, and then look at the highest performing reel, and then break it down. The skills I'm trying to teach you here is looking at a content and figuring out what made it good, because you're trying to replicate it and just spin it to your own branding. It's really not like the frame by frame, text by text copying. What you're trying to find is what is in it in this video that made people want to click it, or what made this video retain the viewer's attention. So if you watch enough, this is the line that I always start to say: to be a good content creator, you have to be a good content consumer, because you know what good and what bad looks like. So as you keep doing the same thing that I showed you, search, look for the best, figure it out, watch a couple of it, and pull out patterns that made it really good. And then
Well,
go ahead, Julie.
well, no, go ahead because I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah. So what the skills you're trying to hone in is like figuring out what is good and then replicating it. And it'll take a while, because as you keep searching, you're gonna say like, "Huh, that person doesn't sound like me. He's too like upfront. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a very soft spoken person, and the kind of people that I want to attract to be my investors or my partners will not resonate in that image or in that approach. That's okay, because again, we are our storytellers. You're finding someone that is similar to what your personality would be. So keep searching until you find the person. Like when you watch, you're like, wow, I actually like this gal. I like this guy. Let me look at more of his stuff. Like I really connected with this person. When you find a content creator like that, he's done it. That he or she figured out a way how to convey their personality through the lens. Now you're just gonna backtrack and like, what? How did he do it? How did he or she do it? Right? Like, what was the phrases, the intonation, the voice? Was he walking? What were they wearing? Were they at a cafe? Like these things will matter, because now you find your audience.
So, what about AI for
Mhm.
figuring this out instead of trying to come up with some creativity? I mean, this is not our forte, let's
Yeah.
say, and we're just trying to check the box to be on social media. Um, what do you recommend for that? Is it hiring somebody or is it, doing the AI? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so AI is great at synthesizing and looking a ton of content. That's what it's doing. It's scrubbing what's already out there, and then it's actually just repurposing. So you could sort of use AI. Now, this is the problem where people make a mistake: is they make about 98% of the work AI. What you should do is probably make it 75 to 70% AI. So you could either say, hey, the way the guy that, my mentor who taught me how to do this, he pulled up all his scripts. So if I go back to my um Asana board here. Um, all these cards are all the videos I previously made, and then each of the card has the Google Drive folder where I host all the materials, the backdrop, so on and so forth. I even have my script. So what I did is I pulled up all my script, and I uploaded in ChatGPT, and I just said, "Hey
Mm.
ChatGPT, these are my YouTube scripts. Oh, don't spit out anything, don't say anything, just analyze the script." And then ChatGPT said, "Okay." I keep doing it until I hit like maybe 10, and then moving forward, I'll say, "Hey ChatGPT, based on how can you make a script on this topic using the way how I explain or my storytelling way?" And then now
Mm.
it has enough of material to make it sound like me, so it doesn't sound too generic. So that's what I meant by, you can use AI to an extent, but don't make it the full workflow. Because again, the key to content, or connecting, actually that's a better word, the key to connecting people through the media, or to the medium of a platform, is your personality, being you, being authentic.
Wow. Let's see if there's anybody in the room that has a question about this. There's so much information that you're dropping here.
Yeah, I have a question. Thank you so much
Yes.
for your
Sure.
presentation. It's really insightful. So
Yeah.
I think you mentioned creator hooks was what helped you come up with the 10. You kept going back to this one page. It's like 10 different ways to hook someone. I forget what do you call that?
Oh, this one.
Yes. What is
Uh,
that?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just called a YouTube title form, or you can think of it just got title formula. And again, this title formula can be applied to almost anything, like your subject of your email, maybe your LinkedIn before you start your blog. This title formula is universal because again, what this really address is the human need or the human psychology. They've compiled this title template to trigger a mechanism that makes someone take action. It's not just I read it, okay, next, delete, right? This is the most effective way, depending also of the topic, obviously, on how you can mix and match. This is a way to elicit a action. So
Mm,
if you figure out the best way to convey your message, use the right formula, you have yourself a winning strategy. So I don't know, Julie, I can share this with you because
I would
there's
love it. Yeah.
because each one has an explanation. And then there's this image. I really like this one. So you can just do this like, hey, do this if you want to X, right? Like
Mm.
in 1 hour time, I was able to underwrite a deal. Things like that.
I
Like
love that.
10 top
Yeah.
10 beginner tips on how to. So all of these are just
Ah,
really
that's
the
great.
formula of a title. And I guess depending on the topic as well. So Veronica, I hope that helped.
yeah, that's very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
my last
Also,
question is, you mentioned the bulb last time. You mentioned
oh,
the teardrop bulb. Any chance we can go over it really quickly one more time?
yeah. Hmm. I will have to put a caveat on what I'm going to share because I don't want the people watching this to say that gear is what makes it successful. Because when I started uh, with my first few videos, my budget it's probably under $100 because I just bought a cheap tripod. I used my phone and a simple light. And then now, obviously, this scaled to what I have right now, but I was able to make the most out of it. So I would urge people to use the simplest, most cost effective way first. Now, to answer your question, this one is um, the light that I have is the Amaran 100D. Again, you can do a lot better. It's very hard to see the quality, um, even if you use a cheaper light. But this is the one I have right now, the Amaran 100D light. And then what I have is the uh, aperture lantern softbox. There we go. I think this is
Oh,
the
I like
exact
that
one.
one.
Yeah, it's this one. And then the again, it depends on what you're trying to go after. So the scene I'm trying to go after is like I want the lights or the back still to be illuminated. If I use a dome, which is like this, the dome kind of light, all the light will just be focused on me, and everything will be like really dark.
Mm.
So you all you'll see is these two light bulbs, and everything else is pitch black dark. So yeah, this is a perfect example, right? It lights up the entire room versus
Mm.
like this one. Versus if it's a dome lantern, uh, dome light modifier like this. Now all the light is just focused on your face. Again, if what you could do too is um, the key thing is to be consistent, right? And what I did is if you don't have to get this kind of light, I urge you to do even just front of your like a daylight. The daylight is the most simplest way to get a very nice key light. Key light is the main light that you're using. These are called practicals. Um, when you start out, just shoot on front of your window, right? And the key is like the
Mm.
softness of the light. So you can put a curtain, or if you have a cloudy day, that's the best time to shoot. If the light is so harsh, um, it will create like a we call it overexposed.
Like
So
me. Look at mine. I'm
Yes,
totally
like
overexposed.
like Julie's. That's a good example. Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Uh,
Adrian,
yeah.
before we go too much further, because we're going to have to wrap this up,
Mhm.
my question to you is what I keep hearing is it needs to be unscripted. People don't want to hear scripts. They want to hear your what you have to say. Is scripting and reading is a turnoff. So, what's your thought on that?
Uh, I would actually. Uh, my answer
They
is no.
really,
It's a debate, right? Because my answer is no. My
huh.
answer is if you feel like you need to script it, go ahead and script it, and then make sure you use a if you're going to script it, make at least use a teleprompter because it's gonna seem like natural. Because
All
if I
right, tell
do
me the teleprompter.
what's that?
Tell me which teleprompter.
Oh, did I use? Oh man,
Yeah.
glide gear. Uh,
Okay.
I y- there's similar ones I think. Glide gear teleprompter. Yeah, so this is the exact one that I have.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you don't do it on your, like sometimes we do it on our phone and it'll
You can
start scrolling.
yeah, so it needs my phone right here. If I'm not sure if you can see it. It needs my phone to it has an app that scrolls the script. So I need to put my phone here and then the camera in the back. So now I can, record and read my script, but it doesn't look like I'm reading. Now,
Wow. That's more than $100 there, Adrian.
it, it is. But again, there's a workaround. Like you don't need to spend that kind of gear before you. Why is there a red lines?
I don't know. I think that's
Is that
you.
me?
Yeah.
How do I
I don't
reset
know.
the
I don't know.
lines?
Seems strange. That's all
Hey,
right.
Oh,
Adrian, I have a
yes.
question for you. So, but
Yes,
isn't
Tia.
there an app that is for teleprompters? Is
Yeah.
it's on your computer screen? So you actually just put the information in, you hit start, and it just
You could
starts
do that as
going.
well. Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
wouldn't that be easier?
yeah, but the thing is, so I've tried that where if you have your computer screen and your camera, for example, this is your computer screen, right?
Yeah.
This is your camera.
Mhm.
You're looking at
Off.
off. Yeah, it's not gonna look like you're looking at the lens. You have to look at the lens. Like right now, I'm looking at the lens.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, my hand. But if I look at you guys, it doesn't look like I'm
yeah,
connecting because I'm looking at the screen.
got it.
So
Okay.
there's no really way to transparently put it here. Although what I've done is how I jerry rigged it is I make this like I actually just print out the paper and make sure it's really close to the lens. And if you're seated far enough and looking at the script, it
Mhm.
does still seem like you're looking at the camera lens.
Yeah, but your voice goes, the audio goes away.
If you're using a mic. Now, what I did before is I use a boom mic. It's like a shotgun mic,
Mhm.
and I just put it on a stand, and it's so regardless of where I am, how far I'm from the camera, it still connects with my voice. Or you can do a lavalier,
Well,
or
I have a boom box or boom whatever, and
like a
it's
stand.
not. It, well, I got this here.
Yeah, but is that connected to your table or your desk?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you move far enough, it's not gonna.
Yeah, you're not going to hear it. This
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah.
doesn't work.
So these are things where you look at your setup, you look at your, where you're going to shoot your videos. Then you have to. That's why you don't start with the gear. You have to look at where you're going to shoot, how you're going to shoot it. Are you going to use a teleprompter? Do you need a paper sheet? How do you make your workflow where it it's not too hard for you to make content because you will procrastinate. The key to this is be consistent, and that's why I said whatever you need to do, try to make it as simple as possible so you can keep making content.
All right.
Uh,
How often do I need to make this content? You say be consistent every week, every day.
yeah. So for my challenge was, uh, let me stop the share for a second. I don't know why the line is there. Then I'll share back.
Yeah.
For me, it was I tried to do it once a week first. When I was just getting started, when I was so shy, I said, you know what? Let me be one week for the next 4 or 5 months, and then which I was doing. Um,
Okay.
one
How
content a week.
many months, how many hours did you take to make that content for every
Oh
week?
man, I can't even start for every week. Um, I would say easily more than scripting alone will probably be like 8, 10 hours. and then editing is more, maybe like 10 plus, because I was editing my own videos. So let me keep scrolling down. I want to show you.
I mean, for many people, that is a
Yeah.
time suck.
Yeah. That's why I would, and I learned the hard way, right? Fortunately, I still had the time to record, and then maybe late at night I was gonna edit. But these videos, so for example, where it's starting to get decent. Oh, this one is a good one, right? So it's muted. Good. So this video was the most painful video I had to make. Then, right? And then you notice it's actually
Mm.
sunny. It's like daylight. But if I go here, oops, it's already nighttime. It's only a 5-minute video, but it's at night. It's that painful. It took me several hours to make this video. And you couldn't tell, but I actually just used my phone
Mm.
to make this video. And I use a $20 light to make this. Now, the
I
the
think that's a lot of times what people do is they use their phone because they said that's fine. And then
Mhm.
they do the scrolling like Tia asked the teleprompter software on their phone.
Yeah.
So they've got that all worked out. And again, I think that a lot of content that is out there is done very quickly. Am I wrong, guys? Put it in the chat. Am I wrong that it's seems like it's nobody's doing it taking very long?
Okay. I would say most videos take very, very long. Now,
Okay.
remember when I started this video about where do you put the work? Do you want to put it on your audience side or on your side?
Mm-hmm.
I want the work mostly on my side, where if they sit down and watch this video, they're just gonna enjoy it. So I have to make it look presentable, and that's just my key. Now, that is just a rule of thumb. Like almost all rule of thumbs, if you know what you're doing, you can actually break that rule of thumb. So when you see content creators where they're just willy-nilly, no editing whatsoever, that's because they can compensate the editing for their personality. They're just like great
Mm-hmm.
storytellers. Like, you don't need any fancy gear, because you could just sit beside them and just listen to them talk, because they're entertaining, they're either knowledgeable, they're so experienced. Again, these are all just good rules of thumbs to remember. But you know yourself better than anyone. Figure out your strengths. The key is just get started and be consistent. That's the only point I'm trying to make. Now, I pull up this video because I wanted to ask, could you even tell the difference between that previous one and this one? Both are shot in 4K. Now, this one, obviously, it's with the current gear that I have now, but the difference is not too big that you would easily say, like, yeah, that gear is worth X amount of $100 more, but the quality is also comparable. That's why when I look at my previous videos that I shot on my phone, it's like that was pretty bad. The quality is not too big where I can immediately spot, like, this one is still shot on my phone. This is still shot on my phone. And the quality is just as good.
Yeah.
And this is a clear example of, if you just had that one light, everything else is so dark in the back. And I mean, it's very, very minor difference. That light is still the same light that I have here. I didn't really upgrade a lot of the things. I just moved to a different place. But
Well, it's your background is I don't have to I'm not focusing on anything back there. Where the other one I'm focusing on what's going on instead of listening to you.
oh, on this one, or the newer
The one that
one?
you just the one
Oh,
you
this
just
one?
showed. Yeah.
Oh, this one?
I don't know if that I can't tell. Oh.
Yeah, it'll take a while to play. But again, this will take a while. Okay, while it's playing, I'll show you another. Remember, like, good content creators, to be a good content creator,
Yeah.
to be a content consumer. So this is called, just like a bank of videos that I've or setup that I've captured, over the span of time, right? And these are just like inspiration. Like, when I look at, let's say this one, let's see how it looks like. right? So this is very well lit. This shot in the day. She's probably just using the window, right? You can
Hmm.
see the plants. Maybe there's a little LED light there. Very, very presentable.
God, I didn't know that you had to have all of this background stuff. You can see I have
but
a background and
let me
this is all I do.
but let me ask you though, like just pick any of this. Like even just this guy who just has a light. uh sorry. Let
Yeah.
me zoom in. Right there. Just a light and a plant. Doesn't this make you like, let me just be at ease and just watch this guy
Yeah.
talk,
That's true.
right? Compared to it makes a night and day difference. I swear. So you can't really underestimate just like, this simple setups make the just watching someone over for more than an hour make it a little bit more pleasant.
Okay. So if somebody wants to reach out to a content creator to get a training like you did, who do they go to? What do they look for? Because there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
reach out to me and say, I want to do your videos. I want to do this. It's like, just go away.
You mean like
So
to get started, to get
to get
started.
training, to get
That's good training.
training. I mean, it's like my husband went to what's that guy? The top guy creating says
Oh,
do it every day.
um,
Gary V.
Gary
Gary
Vaynerchuk.
V.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
So he does some training.
Yeah.
Is that what I want? Or is there someone else that you recommend? What
Yeah.
can somebody use? Who can they use? Who would
I'll
they
tell
go
people
to?
this first. Um, the how to do this question is in the endangered species list because the answer is already out there. I would urge people to exhaust
Mhm.
free resources first. Like, man, YouTube has a ton of. I'm already playing. But yeah, this is the point I'm trying to say. Right, very dark, just light on my face, very cinematic kind. But if you just Google like you setup, like all these people will just talk to you, okay, what kind of gear, like this $1,000 pro setup, right? From camera, from the mic to the light. This one's even better. I've seen her, Vanessa Lau. She's very, very cheap way to just start making good quality content. So for $100. There's a lot of free resource now out there. Now, the one I recommend is the one I used. His name is Ali Abdal.
Okay.
Ali Abdal. I've seen multiple different platforms, and I think his is he goes above and beyond to really guide you to make sure you're um it's not just like, hey, be popular. He'll actually break it down like the way I showed it to you, but even way better. Smart. He's way
Okay.
smarter than me. So
So does he do classes? Is
he does.
that how you
Yeah.
do it? Okay.
It's like a mentorship program.
Okay.
And you have access to his team, you have access to all his his framework, his templates
Hmm.
and everything. So he'll really he'll teach you how to monetize your channel.
This is
So
fantastic.
I would check out his. um but other than that, yeah, I would urge people try to search enough to just do the next step.
Yeah.
It's like multifamily, right? There's a lot of people doing this analysis paralysis. Oh, let me underwrite a deal. I don't know if it's a good thing. No, like know enough to get to the next step, and then do that next step. And when you're there, know enough to do the next step, and then so on and so forth. Because if you want to know the entire path, you will never get started. So the lessons here, it's very similar to multifamily investing as well. Just go out there, get started, and the answers are already out there. It's not hidden. It's no secret, especially in content creation.
I love that. You have opened my eyes to so much. I feel completely overwhelmed. I'm just saying. I've been doing content for 5 years. I think I need to start over. I didn't realize that there's a method to the madness. I just, nobody's really broken it down like you do. And we've sat together, had dinner, and you were talking about this. I'm like, okay, I need to, you know, hear more about this. So,
Yeah. I,
um,
I mean, Julie, the question I asked earlier, if it's a passion project, if you want to change lives, if you want to raise capital, those will help you change your method, right? Because for
Mhm.
me, I have a message and I think I have a skill of delivering it. So I wanted to know what is the best way I can do this. Because if you just want to say, you know what, I just want to be like a visual diary. It doesn't matter if one person watches my video, 100, 1,000, it doesn't really matter. I just want to make content consistently. There's no one telling you you can't do that. But if
Yeah.
you want to succeed, if you want to get better, you do have to look back and do like a feedback mechanism. Like, why am I not succeeding? What are other people doing the same thing that I'm doing? Why are they
Yeah.
succeeding? So those are the questions now you have to identify. But that starts from the very beginning. Why are you making content?
Figure it out. That's amazing. Anybody have a question before we move on to networking?
I have a quick one, and I might have missed
Sure.
it, but the glasses. So
It's a
people
problem.
like Julie and I who have glasses,
It's a
Yeah.
problem.
what's the deal?
Let me see.
Like,
Is
oh,
there a
okay.
glare? It's the angle.
No.
So if you put the light directly on front, it does reflect it back. But my light right now is like a 45-degree angle, so it doesn't reflect the.
Wow. I'm so glad you
My
showed
screen is
that.
the one that does it for me. It's
That's
not so much.
true.
I figured out the lights. It was the screen. So especially Julie's screen because it's all white. But
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
Say
that is
that,
a good point, though. Sorry, go
say
ahead,
that
Tia.
again, Adrian. Say that again. What'd you say?
See,
How do how
you've got to look at her glasses too.
Yeah. So how do I resolve the lighting reflection
Yeah.
thing? The light has to be at an angle. It can't be directly in front of you because if it's in
Okay.
front of you, it will reflect
Yeah.
the light will go here and will
I
bounce
mean,
back.
as a photographer, we think about that all the time when I'm shooting. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I was a photographer, so but still, there's always post. But here
Mhm.
we don't have post. I mean,
Yeah,
also there's anti-reflective in terms of like
that's true.
lenses that you can actually
Lenses.
get when you go to redo your prescription.
Yes.
Oh,
So there's
Adrian,
that as well.
do you have special reflective
No, no.
glasses?
This
I
is just
do,
like
when
regular.
it still
Oh,
happens to
reflecting.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, good question,
Wow.
Cody.
One other question I have, because I've had to do content before, and one of the issues I constantly had was finding good editors. And as much as I would,
Mhm.
I could keep hearing, go to this place, that place where it's cheap and yada yada. It never worked out. It never worked out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It never worked out. It was horrible. The experience was horrible. The quality was horrible. It was like
Yeah.
a waste of time and money. So,
Yep.
and especially when I had to get it done by a certain time, and you're trying to like
Exactly.
just spin at the last minute, trying to go
Terrible.
with somebody,
Yeah.
it never, it wasn't even worth putting out.
Yeah. Julie, doesn't that sound familiar? The story is
I'm
so
all over
familiar.
it. I'm all over it. I
I mean,
had
if we all got together, we put a little business together, and we
Yeah.
literally, we could between all of our resources, seriously, we'd have so much business, because this is an issue for every content creator out there
Yeah,
who's
yeah. So
new.
I here's my answer. And
trustworthy. Time is of the essence.
yeah,
Do they see your message? I mean, I
yes.
have seen Adrian's how he puts this together. It is so tight. I mean, I don't even know how Paul is his editor, how
Yeah.
he does it. You are so driven to make the cuts here and here and here, and you're going to put this picture and you're going to put these words and
Yeah, yeah, and um, I didn't really learn this until I went to that mentorship, and he did give me a system on how to vet. I've vetted a couple of editors before I even found the one I use now, and the problem is actually twofold. One is also us or the content creator, because most people what they do is they record the video and give it to the editor and say, "Make this look good." But what is good? Define good, because depending on who's making it, they have a version of good. What I learned is, I guess that's why I also urge people. I know it's painful at first, but you do have to try to edit your first few videos because you know how to instruct what good looks like. And one is you know how to spot good, you know the quality of what good, and you can also tell really it doesn't really take X amount of hours to do that kind of work because you know how the work is done. Now, let's say you don't have the time to do that. What you do is compile, and that's why the content curation is very important. Compile a lot of finished product, saying like, "Hey, watch all these 4 videos. You see that transition, you see that text. I want exactly like that. Don't. There's no guess like what is good looks like because you've defined it. The more specific you can make it, the better the editor will say, ah, yeah, because I know how to edit. I know how to cut. I know how to add text, make the fancy animation. But I know how to. I just need to learn how to convey that kind of instruction to the editor. And that's why uh, I'm not sure if Paul showed the to you the script, Julie. Like we have like color
You,
codes.
yeah, you showed it to me, and I was like, "You're insane."
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's writing a book and
Yeah.
exactly where to cut it. I was like, I would want to kill you after it because in my mind, it's like, hey, you understand me. You go, please make your magic. But that's not how it is, you guys. It's like you have to do the work. It takes me so long to do that. I'm like, I just don't even want to deal with this. Just get this off of my desk now.
Yeah, so this is the exact strip of the most recent video I made, right? So I broke it down. I have the subtopics right there. Um, green is notes for the editor. That means I want you to read this. This is not really a text. If it's orange, it means there's an overlay. There's either a screen, another video playing, maybe a graph, a chart. And then if I want to like zoom in my face, this three is a corresponding file that I attached. So it's either a specific graph because in our niche in our space like in real estate when we're educating people, the value proposition we're giving to our audience is we condense the time for them to research this. So
Mm.
when I found a news article, if I use the Fed Lewis chart that it would have taken them maybe a couple more minutes to find it or narrow it down. I was able to find that chart and summarize it for them. That's why they're going to watch my video compared to everyone else because they're not backing it up with sources. So what I did is what I'm telling my audience is not only that I'm going to summarize this work for you, I'm actually going to give factual basis of where I'm coming up with this information. That's why in edutainment, education plus and entertainment,
Mhm.
I want to be very specific of what I want to show the audience. Because if I'm just speaking like this, it's just like an opinion. It could be a fact, but they don't know me that well to know if I'm smart enough to know what I'm doing or so on and so forth, right? And this is the reason why I am very specific of what I want to show on the screen because I am educating them. It's like a teacher making the curriculum, right? It's not just willy-nilly. There's a specific point that you want to convey.
All right, Cody, do you want us to bring that up?
What
I
happened?
mean, if you really want to, but it was. I mean, I gotta put it out there somehow, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Adrian,
let's.
can you pull that up?
It was
What?
a really. It
Cody
was. You want
posted
me to pull it
in
up?
the
Yeah,
It's in the chat. Oh, sorry,
yeah.
I didn't see it.
yeah.
I
If
made a
Adrian wants to pull it
poster
up, then
today.
Yeah,
Let me
can
let
you
me share it.
critique it real quick. Just the starting
Yeah, this is
thumbnail or anything like that.
great.
That would
Wait,
be
let me share
fun.
the screen.
So Cody's going off on his own. So this is a
Wait, is this
new
your very first
charter.
video?
This is my very first video. Yeah.
So you have this square that I don't, do you guys see the square?
Awesome. What's that?
Do you
Do you
see
still see?
do you see the
It-
Is
Cody?
that
Do you
me?
see the square that's
Yeah, it's
covering?
something on his
Okay.
browser. I think it's a protection thing on your
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
browser
I don't know. I think it is my browser, sir. There it is.
Okay.
because
It's
it
much
does a
better.
lot of other boxes I've
Now
noticed
it's
on
in
your
the
phone.
middle of his face. There you go. Oh, it's all right. All right. You are really brave, Cody. I'm so thrilled. Okay, so here it is.
Okay.
Look at the
If
Yes.
you go back
lights.
to the
You did
beginning, we
great
should be
on the
able to see the thumbnail, and
lights.
I'd love to hear your critique on the thumbnail part first,
Uh,
and then yeah, of course, the content too. But
this is the best way to do it. I have to search it. Okay. This is the one, right? The thumbnail.
yeah, that's the one there.
Immediately there's the first thing I would actually no, I'll say the answer because it might take a while. The key point, remember when I said the elements of a thumbnail, the person, the background, and text. There's those three basics. You can modify it,
Yeah.
but that really is the first three. When it comes to the text, make sure it's less than 5 or 4 words, because
Okay.
if you put it on a glance like this, like this one, I can easily see rebalance my 401k. the way people see an image is first they look at it like a glance, like it's so blurry. If I see 7 or 8 words, I don't even read the sentence. I just see that there's a lot of words. Maybe I don't have the time to read it. Then I'm gonna scroll past it.
Mm.
Mm.
You want
Okay.
to catch the attention in a split second. The moment like you're like for this one, you're competing against this guy. Now he's just also pretty busy, right? There's too many things. But if I look at this, boom, I already see, okay, a face, colorful background, bright background. It catches my attention. Plus, there's only 3 words. Rebalance my 401k. Ah, I want to know about that. And then,
Mm.
yeah, maybe this is a style. I can see why, because you're emphasizing more of the text. Now, if this text was a little bit more brighter, maybe like a red, because it's a gradient of the gray, it's
Mm.
still kind of like part of the back. It's very hard to read, right? So contrasting colors is another thing, but I mean, great start.
I'd say I
Awesome,
literally made
Cody.
that
Yeah.
today. Like I made the channel today for the.
Wow,
So
very good.
I knew you
That
were
is
coming on, so I
Wow.
was like,
very
let's
good.
just do it. Let's go
That is
for it.
awesome,
I love
Cody.
it. Yeah.
So did you do this on Canva, or is this just how did you put that
So
together?
yeah, so there's a mixed bag of different stuff, but yeah, Canva basically was the one to get the
Huh.
thumbnail going. I
Mhm,
think.
mhm. I mean, this is a great start, right? And then just use the what do you call this? Um, the the points on how to make it look good techniques that I shared here earlier. I'm Julie's going to show it. So look at different patterns. Look at like, I mean, this is just a very simple one, right? What he did is he used bright contrasting colors. This bright orange plus this blue. I know this is his branding,
Yeah.
but it worked out really well. And look at what he's wearing. It's black. So notice how he pops out of the image right away. That's the difference. Contrasting colors, right? And
Mm.
then the text, because he used an all white text on a sort of like darker orange, that the text also pops out. And very simple element. I see a person, I see a text. Easy. So the lesser this is bad. See, it's
Yeah,
too busy.
I see
Right?
it.
I can't
Yep.
really tell right away what's in it. The key is really if you go to a homepage like this, if you just land on the Google YouTube homepage and your eyes immediately looks at something like for me it's this, right, and I'm like, what is this image? Like why did
Yeah.
I immediately gravitate to this image?
Mm.
So it's things like that make it learn how to make content a lot easier.
So
And
in this case, you would maybe take a screenshot of that and put it in your notes. Is that what you're
uh,
saying?
maybe not because this one is about a monster. I don't know
Okay.
when will I ever need to make a monster, but I would search maybe like 401k, like that, just like that. And then I go here in the filter and then do sort by view count.
Oh, okay.
And now it's gonna filter out all 401ks and show me. Now I want to skip what do you call that?
Uh-huh.
Shorts. But now it's gonna show me which YouTube video is the highest viewed video on
Oh.
401k. So this one, now a caveat to this is how long it's been. So this one's like pretty old, right? Because YouTube maybe is not that popular. Now if it's like 11 months, $1 million and 11 months. Because remember, 401k is not a very like new topic, right? This revolutionary AI, right? That means this topic has been here for many, many years, yet he's garnered 1 million views in 11 months. So what did he do that's better than most people who made
Ah.
401k? So if you do apartments, multifamily investing, and then you see who's the top one, they did something. They did something and they knocked it out of the park.
Really good information. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you
that's
for
like
that.
starting. I wish we had more time.
Yeah.
I'd love to see your video. I did see your glasses did have some reflection in it. I did see that. And that's my problem too. I'm like, I can't get away from this. How do I do it? And for me, my glasses are my brand. So I can't go without them.
Mhm.
So that would be, I can't
A-
put,
Angle your light, Julie. You can.
yeah, I'm going to have to get that light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
this
just
is
set
great.
it in a 45
Yeah.
45-degree angle.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, we are out of time. We're going to have you come back again.
Third time.
No, I mean, we'll kind of try and figure this out. We'll check in with everybody, see how
Yeah.
they're doing, if they need some more. You are so, I love that you had that training. If you could drop me an email with that attachment that you showed us, the hacks.
Yeah, the
I'd love
title
for
lines?
everybody to
Okay.
be able to do that. So
Yeah, I'll share it. Yes.
all right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody staying this long.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week.